Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Buriak, and I'm the Senior Vice President over here at Jet Lending. And we put on live education almost daily, and we pick a typical topic every day to kind of help the investment community do things a little bit better, more efficient, more profitable. Again, this is live, so if you are watching it live, you can comment in any of the social media channels that you're watching this on. Ask me questions live, and I'll answer them. You guys have any ideas on some topics you want me to cover, put them in there and we'll get them made for you. I'm going to put the website in the comments too. That's jetlending.com. That's where you can get all your investment hard money loans done, short term and long term. And today's topic is going to be over what do you look for when you're making an offer on a property? Okay. Because as you guys can most notice that getting the money for your project is usually not the issue. It's usually finding the property. And there's at least three numbers that you guys need before you can make an offer. Okay. So before we start going into some of the things you should look at, first consider what you need to know before you make your offer. There's only three variables, well, technically four, but in the equation on when you guys are getting funding, right? You have your after repaired value. That's what the property's going to be worth after it's fixed up. You got your repair numbers. That's going to be how much it's going to cost to make it worth the after repaired value. Okay. And you got your purchase price, and then you got to have your how much money you want to make. That's kind of your fourth variable. It's in the wings. But you can't get to your purchase price unless you have the other two numbers, the after repaired value and the repairs minimum. Okay. So this is going to tie in on how we are going to analyze some offers and give you a little bit better understanding on how it works. Okay. So we'll go through some math at the end of that. But the first thing is you get to the house and you got to kind of really estimate repairs. So there's some certain things that you should be aware of in a property that is going to increase your repair numbers. As you walk the property, always start with pictures. First picture is the picture of the address. As you're walking these properties, and usually they're probably in the same area. So as you scroll through your phone or your pictures, when you get to a new address, you know it's a new house. Okay. But the first thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. And Chrome, there we go. One of the things I really want you guys to start looking for is pulling over the attic stairs. Walk up the attic stairs and look for what's called cedar shake. Okay. I'm going to give you guys a picture. Just Google cedar shake. If you go into a house and you see little squares like that, that's cedar shake. Okay. What does that mean to you as an investor? It means you have to replace the roof. You have to put a 30-year architectural dimensional shingle on. You cannot lay down plywood over this. Okay. Why can't you do that? Because it's not insurable. Okay. So don't get caught in trying to buy a property and try to cut corners on the roof, because as you try to sell it and your buyer, inspector sees this, they won't be able to insure the roof, and you won't be able to insure the roof while you're in your loan. We need you guys to insure everything just in case. Today is May 31st, 2024. As the rain's coming, you have a cedar shake roof, you're not going to be able to do anything on your insurance. Okay. So that's the first thing you guys got to look for is, well, not the first thing, but when you guys are looking, always look through the attic. And if you see something like this, these little squares, that's cedar shake. That means you are already replacing the entire roof. So that's how you start working on your repair budget items. Okay. I guess I'll just stick with the pictures here. So next thing you'll do, so foundation. Okay. Cracks. All right. Look for cracks in the foundation. Look for cracks along in a diagonal pattern or coming through the brick. Okay. That just means doesn't mean you don't buy the house, but you have to buy it at a different price, because the only variable that you guys can change is purchase price. Remember, you can't change how much it's going to be worth after it's fixed up. And you can't change what it's going to cost to fix it. Okay. But you guys, so when you guys are evaluating properties, when you start seeing cracks in the foundation, stuff like that, you have to estimate a foundation repair. Okay, so, and just like your roof, your repairs come with warranties and certificates. Okay, so as you guys are flipping, or even sometimes even more importantly, when you're holding, these are the items that you have to address. Anything that puts your property at risk for water or for any kind of structural issue have to be repaired. Okay, so the second thing you guys look for is foundation. The third thing you're going to look for is HVAC. Okay, and we'll see what they have here for pictures. HVAC. All right, that's just, of course, they're just people that's working. But HVAC, do they have window units, or does it have an HVAC system? Two things you got to look for. If they have window units, while you guys are scouting the area, does everybody else have window units? Or more importantly, do the comps you're using for value, do they have HVAC? If they do, you have to put it in. If it already has HVAC, you should get that system inspected. And it's not a real estate inspector that you should be hiring for this. Any kind of mechanical like HVAC, just get an HVAC company to come out and give a quote on servicing the unit. And if it's blowing cold air, you're probably good. Okay. If it's not, you're not good. Okay. But so you got to get somebody out there and estimate it. If you notice stuff, if it hasn't been replaced in 10, 15 years, you should put some money away, at least to service the unit. You may not hold back as much to replace the unit, but you have to probably at least service it, okay, during your repairs. Okay. The other thing that you guys have to look for, and you would be surprised, even in the city of Houston, there are septic systems, okay? Because people are like, oh, it's in the city. Yeah, you'd be surprised. If you have a well and or septic system in your property, the same thing goes with like the HVAC. Get yourself a licensed professional that services or installs well and septic systems to go out and evaluate the unit to see how much it would cost to either service it or replace it. Okay. These also come with warranty certificates. So these are your four major things you guys need to look at when you guys are evaluating a property to purchase, because these are your four major items. And these four major items come with warranties and certificates. And these four major items are usually the most cost. So you're going to look for your roof. You're going to look for your HVAC. You're going to look for your foundation. And you're going to look for your well and septic. Those are your first four. Okay. I'll stop sharing here. All right. So now you got your big four out of the way. All right. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to walk around the house. You're going to take pictures of every room of the house from the corners to give depth. Okay. And what you're looking for is cracks in the walls and other things that show potential repeated damage. Okay. So as we've lived here in Houston, there are some areas that are prone to flooding. All right. So there's two different types of water. There's flooding. I know this sounds simple, but from the ground up is flooding. Water damage is from the top down, when a pipe bursts and stuff like that freeze a couple years ago. So one of the things you have to look for is you may be talking to somebody that's in this property. They may have inherited it. They may not know, or they may not just be telling you, like, hey, did this property, has it ever flooded? Okay. Because that's going to change your insurance. And one thing you can look for is, are there baseboards around the area? A common like cut corner fixed, a lot of people usually like cut the drywall and they'll pull up the carpet, but then they don't put any baseboards back down. So you'll be in this room, or there's near like this one corner of the area of the house, but probably where there's foundation issues, and there's no baseboards, or the floor looks like it's coming up, or it feels weird. Hey, does water come in this area? And like, oh, I don't think so. And then you can like look up if there's been any claims to the house and things like that. Okay. don't get me wrong. There's sometimes you guys have a tiger by the tail kind of thing. You have to make offers now, but always err in the side of caution that you may have to repair something. Okay, so and that's where we're going to get in our numbers, our repair numbers. Another thing to look for in the property is just to really compare the finishes of your comps. Okay, not just the exterior, which is called the elevation. The exterior is important, but you need to look at the finishes interior and get your, I mean, take a pic, grab those pictures and get your GC and say, I want this house to look like this house. How much is it going to cost? Okay, so you guys can get a really good number on how you can present value. A lot of flip investors get burnt because they'll do like a landlord make ready and try to achieve value just by price per square foot. It just doesn't work that way. You have to command finishes in the area. The reverse goes. Some people would like to make everything like the Taj Mahal, and you don't really need those kind of finishes. You're not going to gain that value just because the limitation on the price per square foot. So the price per square foot still matters. It's just, but it's a relationship between the finishes in the area. Another thing you have to be concerned about are add-ons. Add-ons could be a garage conversion. It could be a legitimate add-on where they actually added square footage to the property. It could have been what's called an ADU, which is maybe a lot of times you'll see this is where it's like a garage apartment up top. So here's some things you need to consider when you're looking for add-on square footage. Historically, you can, let's say the property itself is selling at $100 a square foot for easy math purposes, $100 a square foot renovated. Okay, that's your ARV number. Your add-on square foot is usually half of that. So if it was a 1,300 square foot house and now it's a 1,500 square foot house, the 1,300 square foot original would be at $100 a square foot. The additional 200 square foot would be at $50 a square foot for the additional unit. Okay, the additional add-on. Especially for garage conversions, it's really going to be subject to the area. Okay, does your subdivision also have a lot of garage conversions? You'll see this in parts of Spring and stuff like that. If that's the case, the price per square foot actually should match more evenly because it's in accordance of the area. If you don't see a lot of that and everybody else has a garage and your property doesn't, you have to try to use that 50% price per square foot, but also know that you may have higher days on market if you don't adjust for covered parking and the loss of the garage for storage. So just keep an eyeball on that when you're making offers. We can go through a lot of things. This could be a 2-day seminar. A couple other things that you could really look out for that really deter your ARV value that is sometimes catches you off guard, and that's a busy street. Let's say you're buying and you're on TC Jester, okay, or you're in Ella and you're in Oak Forest. Okay, Oak Forest is its own show. But let's say you're on Ella and you're using comps within the subdivision. Well, if you don't have enough historical data on Ella, that property is probably worth 80% of your average comp value that's in the subdivision. You usually have a 20% deduction in value on a busy street, especially that goes up in the deduction when your price point goes up. If you have a $900,000 house and I got $900,000 to spend and I got all these options and your house is on a busy street, I ain't buying your house for $900,000. So you have to really watch that. The busy streets really, really get tricky with days on market and on the higher price of value of things. Those people have more options. They're not going to buy it at that commanding in subdivision price. You can just if you're having to make a quick decision, just make sure you maybe deduct the ARV about 20%. So if it was $1 million house, it's really an $800,000 house. A good rule of thumb or a good practice when you're buying things on a busy street is comp the busy street and all of its history. Okay, you can even try to do like 5 years or so. Just try to get enough comps that's on the street within a reasonable, maybe 2 or 3 blocks either direction, without crossing major streets. Like if you're on the one side of the heights. Don't cross 610 to get the other side of the heights. Don't comp over there. It's a totally different area. Okay, so you take your busy street comps, and let's say one was sold in 2018. Well, then you try to do your percentage of appreciation over the years to try to get what that house would be worth today. On average, Houston's probably 3 to 5%. Don't use the crazy COVID numbers where we did 41% increase in 3 years. That's not the norm. But be more conservative as you estimate that, and you can say, okay, well, in Ella, historically, it's this, and it's about 6 years ago. That's 5% a year. You do the math and you figure out, okay, so it's worth about this right now. And that's how you base your after repaired value. So our first talk was going over some things to look at repairs. The second part of this was going over how do you adjust for value. Another adjust for value is be careful, especially within like the Houston city limits and just older areas. Where your property is next to or adjacent from commercial. When you have residential properties, the busy streets and like if you have a liquor store or an apartment complex or a school or a church, those actually deter value on the residential property. They increase value on commercial properties. Okay, so if you're flipping a 1 to 4 single family and it's next to a strip center, or behind, like you'll see this in even in really nice areas, the backyard, there's an HEB behind you. That house is worth statistically about 10 to 20% less than the subdivision houses. Okay, so don't get caught up and letting like a wholesaler or just an unseasoned agent or something like that tell you, oh, well, there's been all these houses selling for $786. Well, those houses didn't have a Walmart behind it, so consider all your variables. Is there power lines going through the yard? Everything that can detract days on market and value. So water flooding is a big deal. It doesn't mean you don't buy them. It just means you buy them differently. We look for our major 4, our roof, our foundation, our HVAC, and our well and septic. We look at it as a busy street. Is it next to commercial? Are there power lines in it? Did it flood? Is this a funky layout? I mean, does the house all the way to the backyard and the fence, there's no backyard? Does it de-elevate? Like, here's your driveway and it goes downward to the house so water is coming in it. All these little things can really help you save time when you're evaluating this house. And that's why a lot of people come to Jet Lending, because within the first 24 hours of you putting your application in, whether you have this property under contract or not, we comp everything. If you send us pictures, we're super accurate. But if you don't, we kind of look on Google Maps and say, okay, well, where's this property at? And, what could be? And we let you know, hey, by the way, we think it's worth this before you order appraisal. And this is why. It's on a busy street. It's de-elevating, so water's getting into that right corner. It flooded in Ike. How do we know that? Because everything over there flooded in Ike. I mean, it's like you have all these things saying that's why we think the value is this. That's why we're going to lend like 70% of this. If you made it look like this house, the repair number is this. We're funding this at closing. Does this make sense for your profit margin? Now is the fourth variable. The fourth variable is profit. So you definitely need to know the after repaired value projection. You definitely need to know the repair amount. Calculate your purchase price, but to get a good purchase price, you have to understand how much profit you want to make, because that's another variable that you need to add, because you have your holding costs and things like that. In fact, we have time. We'll do it. I'll do it for you guys. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you the profit margin calculator. We have a video just on profit margins if you want to go to the website and watch it. But so share screen. Let's see. Calculators. All right. So I'll put in a purchase price of, let's say, $300,000. Okay. Let's say your ARV is 620. That means this house is probably going to need a bunch of stuff. All right. So let's say we're putting $88,000 in repairs. All right. Property taxes on a property like that's probably going to be about, let's say, $9,500 a year. All right, insurance. Insurance is crazy. We'll do a video just on insurance. I know everybody's complaining about insurance. There's nothing you can do about it. All right, it's expensive. But let's say it didn't flood. We're going to do maybe $3,000. All right, you're probably at 3% at 11.9% interest-only payments with no penalty for early payoff. We're going to hold $88,000 in escrow for your repairs. All right, so you're buying this property low enough to be $0 out of pocket at closing. Okay, so I can't, since you're at purchase, I can't fund it. I can't overfund $21,000. On a refi, I could cash you out, but on a purchase, I can't. So if I just decrease this another $20,000, purchase price of 280. That's I'm going the wrong way. 320. There you go. So it will balance out. Let's say you bought it for 320 just for easy math purposes. Okay, if I go to my deal analyzer, I got to calculate the months in the loan. $88,000 divided by 7,500. Why do I do that? Because about $7,500 worth of work a week is legitimate. Okay, so you're in this for 11.7 weeks. Call it 12 weeks. Call it 3 months in repairs. That's if nothing goes wrong. Okay, so 3 months of repairs. Let's call it 60 days on the market, 30-day close. Let's say you're in this for 6 months. Okay, it's a big house. I got to have utilities on. Okay. For all the electrical equipment that needs to be done, the water, all that kind of stuff. You sold the house. Let's say you have to sell it at 6%. You got your monthly payments. Let's say there's no HOA and you're not doing a seller's contribution. And what we have this at? We had it at 620. I sold it at 620. I paid 6% commission. I paid myself back 6 months of utilities. I paid myself back 6 months of monthly payments. I was already at $0 out of pocket at closing. I paid for the $9,300 second closing costs usually because the seller usually buys takes care of that. If I bought it this way, I'm making $109,672 net, not gross, net, because I had to pay myself back all this stuff. You had to pay your $434,000 loan back to Jet. Okay. That's a good deal. Okay. So you were like, wow, I'm projecting if I want to make at least 50 grand, you're making none. But let's say, well, I want to make at least 50 grand. Okay. At least 50 grand. All right. And this is where it starts getting tricky. I add 50 to this. That means I could buy this up to 370 to make about $59,000. But if I go 9 months in the loan, it goes below 50. So all these variables matter. That's why people team up with like Jet Lending or people like us to let you know, hey, yeah, you know this, but like another statistical analysis on like comps is the ratios and days on market. So not only do you look on the values of things, but when you let's say you guys have an agent, have them pull you what's called ratios. Okay, the ratio between actives versus pendings, actives versus solds, pendings versus solds. Okay, within the I do within the last 12 months because I think that's a good trend. Your appraisers are going to use the last 6 months, but I like a 12-month trend. Okay, so that lets you know if your actives are 20 and your solds are 5, that means you have 4 months of inventory right there. Okay, in that area, because you've only sold 5 out of 20 that are active. Okay, so you can see the ratio between, is this an upward trending market or a downward trending market? And I'm not telling you not to buy it. I'm telling you that you need to project those holds. So that's a 4-month hold right there. And then you look at days on market, and then you look at how long it's going to take you to repair. So that's 4 months plus 3 months. That's 7 months right there. Okay. So you can project your holding costs. You can project your profit margins. So we do things like this where, again, there's a whole video just on profit margins on our website if you guys want to watch. This wasn't all encompassing. Again, like I was telling you, we could spend 12 hours going through everything you should really look at. But as you grow as an investor, what you do is you create teams. Your lender, Jet Lending, is part of the team. We're almost like an employee of yours. You interview people. You interview people at Jet. You interview people that rehab houses. You interview people that buy and sell your properties. We're all part of your business. We're all almost employees. And so you interview people as if you were hiring them. Okay. And as I was saying, like, there's so much information. It's hard to do it by yourself. Nobody has done this by themselves. They always have a team of trusted people. So get with a good team. Know that you're going to, just like any business, you're going to make hiring. You're going to make firings. You're going to have good team members. You're going to have bad team members that you have to replace. It's all part of the business. So I hope this video helped. Check out our website again. I actually do have a question. Is the spreadsheet available for download? I can't give you the spreadsheet, and this is why. Because it's a liability, because I made it personally. And because even though I could say this is like for entertainment purposes only and things like that, somebody could say, well, Alex said his math did this, and I bought it because he said this. It's like, I didn't say that. I just gave you an Excel sheet. What we can do is one day, maybe it'll be a long one. I'll actually pull up Excel and just show you how simple it is to do, because I'm a guy that had no idea how to use Excel, and I've now made exquisite calculators just by going to YouTube and putting things in. As long as you know the equations, all you're doing is making this plus this equals this equations. But I wish I could give it to you, but I can't. But maybe one day I'll find a way. Okay. Other than that, but there is a profit margin calculator video on the site. Go to jetlending.com. Get pre-approved. Chat us up on social media, on our website. Text us, call us. This is what we do. This is how we've been in business for almost 21 years. This is how we're different. We're not, you're calling us and, yeah, you got a property? Okay, let's order appraisal. Oh, it didn't work out. Like, no, we're going to try to make you successful, because if I can make you successful, then I can do more closings for you. If I do more closings for you, I make more money. I do more closings for you, you make more money. And it's win-win. That's how business relationships should be. So check us out. Check out our videos. Text me or email me or whatever you like. If you need a video made, I'll make it. And I hope this helped. Again, we're always there for the investment community to try to help you guys out, make more money so we can help. And we hope we can be your lender. And I hope you guys have a great day.